Which games are must-bets for Week 13 of the 2024 NFL season? What's going on, football fans and gridiron gamblers? It's Mitch here, back with another week of best bets versus the spread. This is the video where I give you my 5 favorite picks versus the spread every single week on the BLV. So, if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to keep track of our weekly picks, and Gronk, spike that like button. Let's get started, guys. Let me know in the comments your favorite pick of Week 13. My first pick of Week 13 is going to be the Tennessee Titans. We're back on the Titan train in Week 13 after nailing the selection last week. Not only did Tennessee cover against the Texans, but they won the game outright. This week, I think the same thing could happen because I think people are underrating the Titans defensively, and I think they're underrating how Will Levis is performing right now. Yeah, I know. The guy that shovel passes it to the opponent, that guy is actually being underrated right now. I like the 5.5 against the Commanders. First of all, it's about the Titan defense, not Will Levis. The Titans have one of the 5 best defenses in football. They rank second in the NFL in yards allowed this season. They're excellent against the run. And when it comes to the Commanders offensively, everything operates through their running game. If they're not able to run the football, which Brian Robinson's beat up, Austin Eckler is likely out of this game. If they're not able to run the ball against big Jeff Simmons and even bigger T'Vondre Sweat, that's going to put Jaden Daniels in some awkward third down scenarios for Simmons, Landry, Key, and this big front seven to punish the rookie quarterback. The cliff is real. This offense that started off so hot, beating up on bad opponents, beating up on terrible defenses, has cooled off against a tougher schedule. The Eagles, the Steelers, these teams have showcased a game plan, specifically when rushing Jaden Daniels, to keep him in the pocket, to suffocate the pocket, and to make him beat them with his arm, throwing the ball down the field. That has not been the case. This is an offense that is all about their screens, their quick throws, and Daniels' athleticism. And if you can limit Daniels' athleticism, if you can be great against the run like Tennessee is, you can really shut down the Washington Commander offense. Plus, there's still possibly the scenario where Daniels is beat up and still dealing with that injury, which some people think is the case. I just think part of it is the offense has regressed. Part of it as teams have seen the film, they've diagnosed it, and they found a game plan that can confuse and that can slow down this athletic young quarterback. And I think Tennessee has all the makings, a great defense at stopping the explosive pass, a great defense against the run. This is the type of defense that's going to give Daniels fits, which is part one of why I like the Titans in this game, because I think their defense is going to keep them in it. Now, you always have to deal with Tennessee's catastrophically awful special teams. That is always a factor. The Commanders just last week against the Cowboys were awful on special teams. They allowed Turpin to return a touchdown, and then on an onside kick, they allowed another touchdown, and they missed an extra point. Now, their kicker is now injured, so maybe that might actually help them. But Washington is not exactly the best special teams unit, especially coming off that performance in the way they are trending. So I'm not too worried about that matchup. On the flip side, I like Tennessee's ability to run the ball and control the clock, and through their running game, protect Will Levis. Because Tony Pollard actually had a very efficient day against the Texans. A much better run defense and a much better front than the Commanders. The Commanders have been a bottom 5 team against the run this year. You can control the clock. You can really make them keep Jaden Daniels on the sidelines. Keep him sipping Gatorade, water, whatever his beverage choice is on those sidelines. With Tony Pollard eating up the clock, long drives. Will Levis, off play action. Will Levis deep down the field. Those are things he can do. Will Levis a little scramble here and there. As long as he doesn't have catastrophic turnovers, as long as they don't have catastrophic special teams, I think the Titans can win this game. I really think they can win this game outright because I think they're underrated. The Commanders also don't have a dynamic pass rush. Will Levis tends to take a lot of sacks. The Titans' offensive line is the weakness of their football team. And this is probably the worst pass defense and worst pass rush that Will Levis has played maybe all year. You look at the schedule of defenses that the Titans have faced, it's crazy, right? Outside of maybe the Patriots, this is like the easiest defense he has faced all year, especially him, because that was Mason Rudolph, right? So I really like Tennessee in this game. I think it's a great matchup. I think the Commanders are overrated. I think the Cliff is here. I think Jaden Daniels is overrated. And I think Tennessee is underrated. It's a perfect mix for a bet that I want on the spread. So give me 5.5. I'd prefer 6. That would be amazing. But I'll still take the 5.5 with a team that I think can win this game outright if they play their cards right. I think the Commanders are falling off the cliff. The next bet against the spread is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers -1 in Atlanta against the Falcons. I think people are going to overthink this game because the Falcons are coming off a bye. They're rested, blah, 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 blah. I'm just simply going to say Justin Herbert is one of the best passers in football. And he is playing a team that has no pass rush. And when I mean no pass rush, it's one of the worst pass rushes I've ever seen. They cannot touch quarterbacks. And now they're facing Herbert, who's not only an absolute technician in the pocket, who not only has incredible, impeccable accuracy, but also has a good offensive line in front of him. So I don't see how Atlanta pressures Herbert. With J.K. Dobbins out for the Chargers, that's only going to incentivize Jim Harbaugh to put the ball in his big, awesome, athletic quarterback's hands and throw the ball 30 plus times, maybe 40 times in this game, and just play it through Justin Herbert, which is the absolute perfect scenario. I think you can run the ball in Atlanta a little bit, but you can really throw it because they can't get to the quarterback. So Herbert's going to have time, and when Herbert has time, he's in perfect conditions in a dome, even though it's on the road, he's going to hit his target. And it doesn't matter who his receivers are. He's going to make them look good. So I think Herbert's going to go up and down the field against this Atlanta defense. And then on the flip side, the Chargers, I think, are a little overrated defensively. Don't get me wrong. That was a reason to fade them against Cincinnati, even though they won that game. And I think it was a reason definitely to fade them against the Ravens, which on Patreon, we bet the Ravens. Guys, by the way, if you're not on Patreon, link in the description and the pinned comment. It's $10 a month for all of my bets each and every week. Some are not included in this video. Some are, so make sure to check it out. Back to the Chargers. The difference for me in this game is the Chargers have a pass rush, right? They've got Joey Bosa. They've got Khalil Mack. The rookie's playing well on the edge. Their interior D-line is decent, right? And they're good against the run. Like, they're definitely above average. So I like the Chargers from a coaching perspective over the Falcons, from a quarterback perspective and an athleticism perspective at quarterback. Remember, Cousins can't move. So the quarterback that's going to be more pressure dependent, more clean pocket dependent is Cousins, and the cleaner pocket is going to be Herbert. So I like everything about this football matchup. Is it a short week for the Chargers? Is it a bye week for the Falcons? Is it returning home for Atlanta in a huge spot for their season? Sure. But from a football perspective, the Chargers are the bet. They absolutely are. I have them tiers above the Falcons. I have the Chargers as a top 10 team, and I have the Falcons around 20. So I don't see this as a 1-point margin on the spread. I am laying the point. I am taking LA because I believe in Herbert right now, and Harbaugh has been absolutely fantastic this season for the Chargers. So give me the Los Angeles Chargers. Next up, we've got my New England Patriots back on best bets for like the 4th week in a row. I think we're about 3-1 in our last 4 weeks. We were wrong last week with the Dolphins, but I just felt like it was a lot of points. So I took it in a divisional game, and I was wrong, I have to admit. But this is a different scenario here where the Patriots are getting points, they're at home, and they have the better quarterback objectively, Drake May versus Anthony Richardson. Richardson, who can't complete a pass, especially against man coverage. And the Patriots like to play a lot of man coverage. That's exact same thing as Detroit, right? Detroit doesn't have a great pass rush. New England doesn't have a good pass rush at all. It's probably bottom 5 in football, but they have the corners to play man coverage. And I think Gonzalez and company can keep windows very tight for Richardson, where he is going to be very incompetent when it comes to completion percentage. I think that's going to force Drake May on the field more often because there's going to be more 3 and outs. There's probably going to be explosives from the Colts, but it's going to be few and far between. And that means the Patriots will have more possessions in this game, which is going to allow them to maintain offense, maintain their script, and also wear down the Colts front, which is the only area of their team that I really feel they have a decisive advantage. The Colts defensive line is going to have some good plays against the worst offensive line in football. But Drake May is very athletic. He's very good at escaping pressure. He's very good at scrambling. And he's also facing a zone-heavy defense where he's going to have quick options available to the running back, to the tight ends in this offense. And the Colts have also been pretty weak against the run this year, which also gives me the possibility of the Patriots finding a little bit of rhythm and a running game, which in the best games this year for the Patriots offensively, they've been able to run the ball, and that allows them to set up their play action. And that's the type of offense that the Patriots do want to run instead of just constantly dropping back their rookie quarterback because their O-line is just not good in pass situations, right? Drake is not the problem. He's actually the best player probably on the team. The problem is that they can't hold up in those constant dropbacks. But when they run the ball, when they get play action, it allows them a little bit more to hit some shots, to hit some vertical plays, to hit some explosives. I actually kind of like what the Patriots have been able to do in terms of their quick game and their screen game and all that sort of stuff. So I think that will still be there for them offensively. But the main profile for me, it's Richardson outdoors in New England in a little bit of a coldy, windy type of game where he is already not accurate as it is. He plays in a dome. In college, he played in Florida. And he's probably the more accurate, more decisive passer. He's going to be able to run as well. And also, the Colts are injured on offense. Like, Josh Downs could be out. Pierce could be out. That's 2 of his top 4 receivers. And arguably, his deep threat, his best deep threat in Pierce, and his best separator in Downs, who against man coverage is crucial to this team. The Colts also have an injury to their center. Their backup center, their starting center is already injured. That helps with protections. That helps with sorting out blitz packages and things like that of the opposing team. So the Patriots might be able to find some pressures and some blitzes to get after Richardson. And I would expect New England to blitz because they've been very aggressive in that regard, and they forced a lot of quick decisions from quarterbacks. Certain quarterbacks are able to handle it, like Tua and Stafford that they've played recently. But quarterbacks like Richardson or Caleb Williams had a lot of difficulty with that, or will have difficulty with that. So there's a lot of different football things that I like about this game, including the weather, including the Patriots are at home, including the injuries to the offensive line of the Colts, to the receiving core of the Colts. I like the Patriots' defense schematically against this offense of the Colts. The only thing that really scares me about this game is the defensive line of the Colts and Shane Steichen. That's the only thing that really scares me is Shane Steichen is a good play caller and Gerard Mayo is objectively an idiot of a head coach. But the Patriots all the way around, you're getting points. You've got the much better quarterback. You've got a team that might be able to run the ball here. And I think that you're just going to be able to more consistently move the ball. So I've got the Patriots plus 2.5 this week. I'd love a 3. If you can find a 3, take a 3. But 2.5 is also definitely a number that's not worth nothing, right? Like, games do land on 2 because of 2-point conversions and things like that. It's not like useless in this day and age. So 2.5 is also useful in my opinion, rather than just playing the money line. So Patriots plus 2.5 or 3 preferably this week. Our 4th best bet is going to be the Texans minus 4 at Jacksonville. This line just doesn't feel right to me after it's just fallen like day after day after day. I think it started at about 6 and it's fallen from 5.5 to 5 to 4.5 to 4. And people are betting it. And big time bettors and sharps are betting this number for Jacksonville. But all the way down to 4. I like Jacksonville to lose because I like Houston in this matchup. I think this is a much better profile for their team than the Tennessee game. We perfectly nailed the Titans game because we understand the Texans, right? Their offensive line is putrid. Their play calling on first down is putrid. And you can run the ball a little bit on Houston. Now let's look at Jacksonville. They have the worst defense against the pass in football. Their pass rush is probably bottom 5 along with the Patriots and the Falcons and others in the NFL. Right? They've lost defensive line pieces this year because they traded a couple of them and they've gotten rid of a couple of them, right? Like Roy Robertson Harris, they got rid of him to Seattle. Their pass rush has gotten worse as the season has worn on. Their secondary is very thin. They're not good at corner besides maybe their CB1. So I see CJ Stroud being able to have more time than usual because Jacksonville, when they blitz, they're going to be man-to-man across the board and Nico Collins plays for the Texans. Good luck. If they rush 4, they're probably trying to double Collins. That's going to just have Stroud to have more time and feel competent, feel confident, which is something he hasn't had a lot this year. And he'll probably find Dalton Schultz or he'll probably find Tank Dell. I could see Tank Dell having a huge game here. On top of that, Jacksonville is not an elite run defense, right? Not an elite run defense like the last team was, the Tennessee Titans, who are elite against the run, right? Like Tavondre Sweat, Jeff Simmons. That's why we really like them against Washington, right? So I think that the ability to run the ball more with Mixon. Think about Houston. Whenever they move the ball, whenever they have success on offense, it starts with Joe Mixon. It starts with the running game because Bobby Slowick runs the ball so much on first down. If they're not competent on first down, it doesn't set up good second and third down scenarios for Stroud, and it sets up their weakness to be exposed, their offensive line. So I think that they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. Mixon's going to get it going. That's going to open up Collins. That's going to open up Dell. If they resort to stop the run, it's going to open up big shots down the field to Collins, to Dell. So I think Stroud's going to have a huge game. He had a good game, actually his best performance of the year against Jacksonville in the first game. This time, when's the last time we saw Jacksonville play football, right? They got absolutely lambasted by the Lions, okay? So I don't think that some bye week is magically going to fix that. And I understand that Trevor Lawrence returns. First of all, I think Trevor Lawrence is overrated. Second of all, Mac Jones is awful, but I do think that Trevor Lawrence doesn't have the same players around him that he had earlier in the year against the Texans, right? Like Cam Robinson got traded at left tackle. Christian Kirk is leading receiver in that game. He's also injured for the year. So there's some different pieces there that they had against the Texans the first time around that made that game competitive and close. I do think the Texans pass rush, it's going to get a boost. Danico Autry is back. Will Anderson's fully practicing. So I think they're going to be able to get after a weak offensive line of Jacksonville. I think that Stingley against Brian Thomas is a pretty fair matchup for us in our advantage. And I don't think Jacksonville can really run the ball extremely successfully in this game either. Like, I think they're going to have some success, but I don't think it's going to be constant. So I actually think this is a huge bounce back spot for Houston. I'm willing to buy into it. I'm willing to lay the points. I think they need a bounce back spot before their bye, and I think they'll get it here. So give me the Texans -4. D'Amico will have the boys motivated. Houston -4 at Jacksonville. Our final pick and best bet against the spread for week number 13 is the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football -7 against the 49ers. And I never like betting against the Niners because I do root for the Niners. I'm open, like saying that's my NFC team, but the Niners are absolutely like devastated. Like they are absolutely just injury riddled is not even the right word. Like they are on life support. I mean, that's really the word. That's really the term. Like, this team might not have, like, Bro, think about it, okay? Brock Purdy is barely throwing the ball in practice. That's first of all. Second of all, Nick Bosa isn't practicing. Didn't play last week. Trent Williams isn't practicing. Didn't play last week. Lenore, one of the most underrated corners in football, not practicing. Charvarius Ward hasn't played in weeks. Dre Greenlaw still isn't back. Fred Warner has a broken ankle and he's playing. Like, this team has no one left. It's absolutely insane. Other than a washed Deebo Samuel, they have nothing left and a returning from double Achilles injury Christian McCaffrey. That's all they have on their team. And they're facing probably the best AFC team in the NFL and maybe the best team in the NFL and the best quarterback for sure in the league, Josh Allen. And it's at home, off of a bye week, where the Bills are going to have pretty much everybody back, right? Matt Milano's probably going to play for the first time this season. And Matt Milano's going to be huge against the Niners, because what do the Niners do better than everybody? They kind of play with their linebackers, right? Play action, run game. They make your linebackers make quick decisions. And Milano's one of the best in that regard, in his movement and his ability to cover space. So I look at the Bills and I'm like, they're going to get a pass rush, because the Niners O-line is kind of middling. It's kind of average. If this is Brandon Allen, forget about it. Like, he's terrible. He's an XFL quarterback. If this is Brock Purdy, yeah, the Niners might be able to put up a fight. But even then, I think the Niners are going to struggle on defense against the Josh Allen-led attack, because they're so balanced. Like, Josh can run, Josh can create by himself. James Cook and Davis are going to be able to run the ball successfully on early downs, setting up good third down situations for Josh. The Bills have very good screen game, which is what the Niners really struggle with. And, of course, you've got to deal with Amari Cooper, who's a full participant after the bye week. So it just feels like the Bills are fully healthy, getting back, going to be surging down the stretch, while the Niners are, like, on life support. Players are falling left and right. Like, they are just surviving right now. And honestly, the Niners might use this game to rest everybody, to try to push for their wins down the stretch here, to try to get into that NFC West conversation for the rest of the season. Because they probably understand that even if they try in this game 100%, they're probably going to lose, because it's in Buffalo. It's Sunday Night Football. It's the best quarterback in the league. It's the team that might win the Super Bowl. Like, that's probably not the game to, like, try to force Nick Bosa to play on an injured hip, try to force Trent Williams to play. Just get healthy. Use one more week. Get healthy, right? So for me, like, I think this is if the injuries are trending the way that I think they're trending, this shouldn't be 7. This should be like 13. I'm not even lying. Like, if it's Brandon Allen and all these boys, like, it should be way worse than this. So Bills -7. I have a lot of respect for Shanahan, but there's just too much to overcome at this point. So give me Josh Allen and the boys on Sunday Night Football -7. And this is also a great teaser, in my opinion. Thank you guys for watching my best bets of Week 13. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. It's Mitch. Deuces.